talk, no BS. No scripts, no favors, no referee. What they won't say, we address it directly. Street news, street politics, respect the integrity. Real talk, no BS. No filters, no cap, no sensitivity. From the corner to the courts, this the recipe. If it ain't real life, don't mention me.
This for the blocks where the cameras don't stay, where the truth get buried under headlines and pay. We don't glamorize pain, we contextualize facts, put the story.
Yeah, we have exclusive interview happened about a day or so ago. Cajun Navy VP Brian Trascher, you know, he details the Trascher, my apologies, details the condition of Nolan Wells' body when it was found. My condolences to the family. Rest in heaven, Nolan Wells. We're gonna get to the content. Like, share, sub up, tell a friend, tell 10 more, do it again. Hit that notification bell so algorithm don't determine when you see my videos again. It means in betweens, finna get to this content.
Jackson Buhai here with In the Know. I'm joined today by Brian Trascher. He is the VP of the United Cajun Navy and participated in the search for Nolan Wells. He's here to give us his version of events today. Brian, thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me on today.
Before this interview started, you started to get into the sequence of events surrounding, you know, from when Nolan Wells was first reported missing to you getting in your plane. Can you walk us through what your story is?
Yeah, sure. So it was kind of late in the evening on 4 July when we first got a call. I think the first dispatch came in through one of our channels, through either a family member or family friend of Nolan's, who ultimately put our incident commander in touch with his mother, who at that point was in full on, you know, search mode. She at that point.
Okay, so there go a question right there, right? There go my first question right there. What time did the call come in? That's question one. Question two. How long had he been down there before the call was made? Let's go.
Point was very concerned that he was actually missing and was doing everything. They were doing everything they could to kind of retrace the steps, get his phone, get his keys, all that. So really it was the next morning when we were told that there was going to be another boat going out, possibly containing some of Nolan's family. I'm not sure what the details were of that. In the morning on 5 July, that would have been Sunday. And by late morning, we had gotten basically another call saying, hey, if you guys have any boats in the area and can go out there and canvass the island, would appreciate it. So I had two of my volunteers from the Mississippi chapter from Ocean Springs, actually, that put in like say midday on 5 July. They went out to Horn Island. They went on the island first, took a drone, looked around all over from an aerial view, and then they ran a grid between Horn Island and Ship Island with the boat. Both of these volunteers, one's a rescue specialist, one's actually a member of law enforcement, so they have a lot of experience. And they stayed at it for a few hours, and then the weather started to deteriorate, so they came back in. That's when we knew we were done for the day. On 5 July, we made the decision that on 6.
Last time I checked, the term a couple was 3 and a few was 2. So if we going technically, right, and we actually a few hours, not even a handful. See, go ahead and blow this up real quick. Some people get on camera, right, and they don't fully understand the terminology of the words and how they use them when they say them. But we're going to get back to this, Because there's a lot of people that ain't answering no questions and we trying to understand it. And don't worry, later on I will have the content of Warren Hudson sitting down with the officer and attempting to tell his accounts of the situation. We're gonna get back to this content though.
July, if the weather permitted, we were going to put an aircraft up because we were getting further and further away from the last time Nolan was seen alive. So that's when we put that aircraft up. We were wheels up out of Gulfport International at about 06:30 on 6 July.
Right. And so, when you first get the call, how did the United Cajun Navy get looped in? Was it through Christine Monsley's social post, or was it after? Was it, through your own accord?
Yeah, so the way that happened is my understanding is that when people started posting on social media about Nolan being missing, that a lot of people started tagging the United Cajun Navy. So basically just kind of making us aware that this was going on, and then ultimately kind of sequencing to asking us for help. Like I said, there was an official message. I don't know if it came through our voicemail or through one of our email or one of our social media messaging platforms, but somebody made contact with, and our incident commander, I think, was either monitoring messages or one of our people monitoring told him about the message that came through. Whoever that person was, it wasn't Nolan's mother, but whoever it was knew her and knew how to get in touch with her, and ultimately put our incident commander in touch with Christine that night on 4th July.
I have a question for you. Given the call to the Coast Guard at 11 p.m. and then the request for help the following day from JCSO at around noon, did you feel like you were starting the search a little bit later than you should be?
There wasn't really, there wasn't anything that we could have done on the night of July 4th, to be honest. But also, too, at that point, I still didn't know.
How? No. How you wasn't able to do nothing quicker than when you did it? Call 911, they get in contact with the proper peoples. So how is it we couldn't get out there any sooner than that? What you mean? Coast Guard. So the Coast Guard couldn't get in contact with y'all, the people that watch over that body of water, specifically that body of water, and come see about him? 11 o'clock, 12 p.m. next day? But everybody want to throw their hands up and say they don't know what happened. Yeah, same thing I said in the last video, I'm saying in this video. Cover up. Something ain't right in the milk. Something ain't right. It got some sense gotta be made. All this fumble talking going on, man, we're gonna get back to it. This is diabolical.
I'll put it this way. On July 4th, when I went to sleep, I didn't know if they had finally gotten in contact with Nolan, if he had come home, if they had found out any new information. It wasn't until the morning of July 5th when I learned that he was still missing overnight. And that's when I became very concerned that, okay, he didn't come home all night. That's a bad sign. And so it was that point when they started calling for all hands and said, okay, we'll put a boat in the water. And then that led to the activities of our search crews on 5 July.
Can you talk to me about the water conditions? What did the water conditions look like that night from where you were?
You're talking about the day he went missing or the day we started searching?
The day you started searching.
They were pretty similar to, for most part of the day, they were pretty similar to the conditions.
You didn't touch the water until the next day. Y'all didn't hop out, do nothing until the next day. I'ma say it. If it was one of theirs, would they have waited till the next day? would they have thought that they had did their job to the fullest of its potential, going to sleep that night, July 4th, waking up July 5th, and knowing that the body still has not been recovered? But y'all got there as quick as y'all possibly could, right? Yeah. All right. We're going to get back to it. This is crazy.
Conditions on the 4th of July, they were fairly calm. It was strong currents, but not really big waves, not a lot of wind. It was very hot. Water temperatures were upper 70s, low 80s. Toward the late afternoon, a little front moved in from the west, and presumably it chopped up the Mississippi Sound at that point. But again, our guys aborted when they saw that weather coming. So that was probably like by 3 or 4 o'clock the afternoon of 5 July is when they had to abort that search. And then that night when I huddled with my team, that was when we made the decision that, putting out another boat on Monday, presumably with the weather clearing up, was really going to be futile because, at this point we're getting too far away from the last time he was seen alive. So we needed to cover more ground quickly, and that's why we had to use an aircraft.
You were involved when the body was eventually located and found. What can you tell me about the state and position that the body was in that hasn't been reported?
Yeah. So again, just to put it into perspective, it was I'm told it was about 08:45 on 6 July when a park ranger on Horn Island discovered the body, called it in to law enforcement. We had myself and the gentleman who donated his plane that day out of Gulfport. We had been flying for about 2 hours at that point. We were making a track going from Horn Island over to Ship Island down to Chandelier Island, which is south of both of those islands, about another 30 miles. So we were coming back up north towards the northwest tip of Horn Island when we noticed there were boats in the center of the island where there's a lagoon, and then we saw some boats approaching the northwest tip. And
No. Make that make sense. Okay. So you saying the body, right, possibly could have traveled over 30 miles in 2 days. But the body washes up on the beach in the same area y'all was looking in. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Y'all got scuba divers, right? People that can go into the water, right? And from what I'm understanding, from what I'm hearing, y'all in the comments, correct me if I'm wrong. You saying it was tough out there. The water was tough. So that technically you saying shit, nobody had been out there? It was a lot of people. Hundreds. Some say thousands. Hundreds for sure. If that's the case, why was anybody out there playing in the water that day? If that's the case, why was any boats out there? If the weather was as rough and turbulent as you say, come on, man. Common sense is a something if you use it right. Crazy work, diabolical.
And when we got closer, we noticed there were 2 boats already parked in tandem on the beach. And that was strange. It was a Monday morning. It was obvious they weren't fishing. So we descended and to about maybe 450 feet, 500 feet. And we could tell it was law enforcement boats, law enforcement personnel. So we descended maybe another 100 feet or so, circled around. And that's when I saw a law enforcement presence gathering on that northwest point. And And then I noticed that there was a what appeared to be a body right at the shoreline, laying face down on the sand.
The implication is that this body had washed up, unfortunately, on the shore.
That's what it looked like to me. Yeah.
Did you see any visible injuries or anything that you can speak to at that distance?
No, from that height, right? So it's best I can do. The description matched Nolan Wells. It matched the area. It was the area where we were looking. So I had good reason to believe, even before I heard from the sheriff's office, that it was him. The swim trunks appeared to be similar color to what was reported. The one thing I'll say about the condition of the body, and again, I want to stress very, as much as I can, that I'm at 450 feet in the air. So I did not have a good ground's eye view look. But normally when a body's been floating, you'll see some bloating and whatnot. He wasn't in the water that long. The water temperature was high. He has a low body mass index. So both of those factors together, normally we'll look for a body to pop up on about day 4, but we knew it was possible it could pop up as soon as day 2. And this was day 2. But again, the body, I'm trying to think of the most respectful way to say it. The body did not seem at that height to be disproportionate to the way it should look. Now, I could not get a good look at his face. I could not get a good look of, the front side of his body, which was on the beach. I was really.
Okay, so here's my question. You didn't see it, right? Okay, cool. From 500 feet up. All right, great. You came to the ground that same day. The man came down. He didn't keep flying. He doing an interview. Clearly, the man is not in the air. So you mean to tell me when you came down from that trip, from that flight, however y'all voice it, whatever, you didn't see any of the pictures? Hell, you didn't go down to the site, to the finding site itself. I find that dramatically hard to believe, but we're going to continue with the content.
Looking at, his back of his legs, back of his arms, that kind of thing. And so that was my vantage point. And I just want to stress to everybody that that's not an ideal vantage point. It's just what I could see. And plus I'm flying at like 90 knots. So, I'm going pretty fast.
What did you see once you got on the ground?
So I'm really getting when I say a glimpse, it's a glimpse.
Was there anything about the location, how close to shore, how far from the shore when he was last seen, that struck you as unusual?
I don't want to say unusual, but I would say that the wind and drift patterns that I was studying what had me believing that he was going to be taken through that ship channel between Horn Island and Ship Island and carried south. It's important to also point out that just like maybe 6 or 7 weeks prior to this, there was a shrimp boat worker who had gone off MOB, man overboard, off of a shrimp boat in Pascagoula, which is on the coast, like close to Horn Island. And it took about a week before we found him, but he had washed up all the way down at the Chandelier Island. So that could have also influenced my pattern of thought, just because in a similar, he didn't go overboard on the island, but it was in a similar area, and he got carried through that channel. Based on where Nolan washed up, my assumption, again, I'm a search and rescue person. I'm not an investigator, but it seems like what happened was he was carried north, which indicates to me that he might have got caught in a rip current, and it carried him north. And then as the tide slacked and the current changed back to a southward heading, it carried him right back to the beach. The only thing that really stood out to me that I was not expecting is that he washed up very, very close to the last spot where he was seen alive. I wasn't expecting that.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything you saw or heard during the search that you feel hasn't gotten enough public attention?
I think that the biggest thing that stands out for me, and I think this sort of is why I understand the way that his parents have gone about this search and the whole case is that there's just seems to be no information past about 4:30 that afternoon on July 4th until he was found. Now, I'm told that police have interviewed up to 60 witnesses. There's a lot of people who have turned in images and videos to us. And there's people I know that have turned images and videos over to law enforcement. So there's a lot about this. There's a lot of evidence in this case I have not personally seen, and a lot of accounts I have not heard. But based on everything that people did offer to us, it's just very, like, it's just hard to understand why, you know, his friends leave, you know, sometime around 4:30. That seems to be about the last time somebody said they visually saw him on the island with.
Okay, y'all, real quick, let's go ahead and break this down, right? July 4th, you leave with your friends and y'all go to a whole function. Water, females, festivities, party favors, the whole 9 yards, right? And if that's all day situation, it's 4th of July. Most people not even eating yet on the 4th of July. And we're around water, it's liquor going on. It's a lot going on, right? But the last piece of communication is at 4:30. A call don't get made till 11. Call don't get made till 11. Some more awareness don't get made till 12 p.m. the next day. And that's when these people show up. That's when these people show up and say, hey, time to go to work. And how you can't get to something that you know about? How you can't get to something that you know about? You knew. You knew July 4th what was going on. Why the boots wasn't on the ground then? See, it's a lot of ways and a lot of technology to find somebody in their line of work. In Cajun Navy. Right. So, you mean to tell me all the technology y'all got didn't get applied to the next day? Why? For what? Why and for what? If y'all job is to oversee them waters at all times, how did nobody see that? How didn't nobody, and again, hundreds upon maybe thousands of people, somebody else saw something. Who ain't saying something? Because you just said about 60 people got interviewed. Okay, so maybe 30, maybe 40 people got asked that day of the occurrence of the situation. Were the friends interrogated or questioned? What about the parents? Or the people who bought the liquor? Because the kids didn't bring no liquor. They were teenagers, they didn't bring no liquor. Unless they took it out their mama or daddy cabinet or something. Facts. We're going to finish this up and get up out of here, y'all. This is a wild situation. Boy, the things I'm hearing is wild.
A different friend group, and then just nobody ever saw him again after that. And so that's why I like I said, I fully understand. The parents are like, I mean, it's like a vanishing, and that doesn't make any sense. So like,
so what do we do? Autopsy drop, yeah. The content for that will be dropped as well. The secondary autopsy, what some of those findings was. This is a shame. It makes no sense. Justice for Nolan Wells. Justice for Nolan Wells. Y'all jump in the comments. Let me know what y'all think, man. My deepest condolences to the family. Like, share, sub up, tell a friend, tell 10 more, do it again. Tap that notification bell so you don't miss any more videos, shorts, updates. And that way, the algorithm can't decide when you see another one of my videos again. In the means and in betweens, I'll rock with you.
Yeah. You know.
AI. Yeah. 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 Real talk, no BS. No scripts, no favors, no referee. What they won't say, we address it directly. Street news, street politics, respect the integrity. Real talk, no BS. No filters, no cap, no sensitivity. From the corner to the courts, this the recipe. If it ain't real life, don't mention me.
Hey, this for the blocks where the cameras don't stay, where the truth